No, you keep going.
What, are you born in the spring, summer, fall, or winter?
Summer.
Are you a Cancer?
No, no. Don't ever disrespect me like that.
Hey,
So, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Y'all are emotional. I can't do it.
that's true. Gemini.
Wow, no. I'm a Leo.
Leo's like August.
Yeah.
It's not summer.
That is summer.
Fall.
It's 95 degrees in August.
Yeah, August is summer. Come on.
Summer's like May, June, July.
No, spring. I think
No.
Fall.
fall.
Yeah.
Started
Fall is like
today.
Yeah. I think October is like officially.
28.
6th.
Okay, well, I'm way off. Okay.
It's okay.
Leos are.
They're what? Wow.
I don't know any zodiac signs.
I love zodiac signs. They're kind of cool.
My mom's an Aries, so we just clashes.
Yeah.
How are you with Tyler's audio? It's working.
Cool.
Alright, Kyler. I want you to run through your stand-up just like you would. But wait.
Yeah, this is a new personal best.
313.
313. We're going to be out of here at 4.
I'm gonna leave as soon as
We're gonna
Really?
play the
You
clips
go
at the
to
same
class.
time to see how that flows. Audio view, can you turn on Kyler's
cool,
audio?
right? The audio booth got it though, man.
Wait, no, we're not ready.
Are you going to the suit thing?
Yeah.
The suits, 100 men in suits? I'm not. I'm going to work after this. But.
I got invited though. Oh no.
Awesome.
Shit, we didn't even. I literally totally forgot about NBA opening. day
Hopefully that's
until,
not in the way.
2 seconds ago.
Oh, my gosh.
Completely forgot. We're so football oriented.
We're so
yeah.
football oriented.
NBA, like I put it in there because
All right, ready?
I wasn't even talking.
Literally totally blanked until literally just this second.
Should I go?
Oh, we're going to have to toss it
Yeah, just I mean, what y'all got to talk
here. We'll just toss it right here.
Yeah.
Literally put it right there.
Yeah, we just throw something. After W, yeah, perfect.
Y'all got some games over.
And we'll just be season expectations. Who's
Yeah.
gonna win? Okay. So let's say season expectations, MVP.
Yeah,
And,
MVP. Yeah, we're not gonna like talk WNBA.
that's
We're just
fine.
gonna throw in
That's
that
fine.
clip. Hey Danielle, I was let Danielle know. Hey Danielle. So we totally forgot about NBA opening day, and we're not gonna
How
like.
that happened, I don't
Yeah,
know.
so for WNBA, like we're gonna show that clip and mention it, and then we're gonna like talk real quick, hit on like season expectations. It won't take long.
Okay.
But that's sandwich. That just let you know.
And then just don't forget to mention that the Lakers are going to take the championship.
Oh yeah.
So did you like do
I'll write that down.
cocaine or did you do,
Lakers.
like
Wait, who? Okay,
Before the
what's
show.
what's the best games tomorrow?
best games on Wednesday? I don't know. I
Or
turned my
on
phone off.
Wednesday, yeah.
My friend said the Knicks were going to take it. I'm like,
Dude, I love the Knicks.
I
though.
love the Knicks though.
I can't wait to watch the
They're
Knicks.
gonna be so entertaining.
Knicks
yeah.
might be my new favorite team.
They're
in
gonna
the
be
NBA.
so entertaining.
they're like, the Knicks are going to be your favorite team. I was like,
They're gonna be
I
so
love the
entertaining.
Knicks. Kristaps Porzingis might be my favorite player in the league. Knicks, Cavs.
That's accurate. Jimmy Butler does not need to be in Chicago. They're wasting that man's career.
Yo, Knicks, Cavs tomorrow.
Knicks Cavs?
Yeah.
I'm going Cavs. Easily.
Spurs, Warriors tomorrow.
I'm going Warriors, and they're going to put up 80 in the first half.
Spurs.
They're going to put up 80 in the first half.
Oh, they're so good. They're
No,
gonna be so
they
good.
put up
first half.
yes. They put up 80.
Against the Spurs defense.
I need Kyler to begin his rundown. Just wait 1 second. Okay.
Yeah, man, I'm not going to class tomorrow. I'm not doing
Nah, yeah, no way.
You think she's going to take attendance for real?
I mean, I haven't used any.
Yeah. All right. The Heisman watch list this year has been primarily quarterback heavy, with running backs underperforming throughout the season. One guy whose name has been synonymous with Heisman all season is number 5, Louisville's Lamar Jackson. Jackson has been nothing short of electric, proving to be the best double-threat QB in the country. So far, he has had 2,000 pass yards and leads all, including running backs, in rushing touchdowns. He's accustomed to making big plays with a 40-plus yard completion in 6 out of 7 games this season. No one has found a way to slow down this sophomore, and he has led Louisville into the top 5. Then we have Clemson quarterback Deshaun Watson. Coming into this season, Watson was a Heisman lock for most after placing runner-up last year. He has led Clemson to an undefeated start with 21 pass touchdowns already. As a junior, he is Clemson's on-field leader. Watson has not flinched under pressure, clocking 400 yards in an overtime win against NC State. If he wants to lock down the Heisman spot this year, he will have to minimize interceptions for the end of the season. J.T. Barrett has been wreaking havoc in the Big Ten, leading Ohio State to a 6-1 record. He has had 17 pass touchdowns with just 4 interceptions. Barrett also averages over 65 rushing yards per game. He has not been bothered by pressure, still performing strong in a heartbreaking loss to Penn State this past weekend. His performance against Penn State is what kept his Heisman stock from dropping. He's had 271 yards and a higher pass completion rate than his season average. With Ohio State's tough schedule, he still has plenty of games to prove he deserves the trophy. An unexpected player who has made himself impossible to overlook this season is Washington QB Jake Browning. As a sophomore, he is 3rd in TDs this season and with 26 and just 2 interceptions. He also has the 2nd highest pass efficiency rating in the country. This has played a major role in Washington's success. They are an undefeated 7-0, and if it stays this way, they have a good chance of getting into the playoffs. This would be huge for Browning's stock and would almost guarantee him an invitation to Manhattan. Finally, we have to mention running back out of San Diego State, senior Donnell Pumphrey. As one of the only running backs living up to the hype, he leads the position in yards and touchdowns. He's extremely fun to watch and, as you can see, has a couple of 50-plus yard runs on the season already. He is an anchor of his team's offense, and they don't use him sparingly. He leads the country in rush attempts. And just recently, he became the leading rusher in San Diego history, overtaking NFL legend Marshall Faulk. He is the reason SDSU is 6-1, and I would not be surprised if he has an invitation to the Heisman ceremony come December. For Sports Mecca, I'm Kyler Sukram.
Just like when you're talking into the teleprompter, just pretend like you're talking to a person. You know what I mean? Just have like some light. Oh, it's hard. Yeah. It's hard.
I
it's
hate
really
reading off
hard.
the prompter. Oh.
Yeah. No, I got you, man. But that's good stuff, though.
Kyler.
Yes.
We need you to look a little more alive. We need you to not sway. And if actually,
I gotta get a picture of that. Oh my gosh, that was beautiful.
like enthusiasm, like pretend like this is the first time you've
Hey, yo,
ever
Clint.
discussed this content.
Hey, Shaq, can you tell Clint
And
the tags are amazing at the bottom?
so listening to me. Okay.
What now?
Furthermore,
Can you tell
So
Clint
tired of walking
the
around.
tags are amazing? Can you tell him I like the work?
something you just keep going. Because the first time you stumbled, it wasn't that noticeable because you just kept talking through it. But the second time, you were
Hey,
like,
you be
oh,
hitting the
gosh,
Juju
what
bro.
am I gonna do? Okay, so just keep going because you won't even
Yeah.
notice.
What is that one? What is that from? Juju.
Juju. Okay, so like the original song was "Nuck If You Buck," and then I don't know how it happened, but Juju it just got popular.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I saw it on Twitter like a month ago.
that's pretty cool. I mean, all the way.
Can you tell Clint
We're never
that
done
these,
talking
these
about
tags are
Juju.
amazing? Okay, I'm ready when you are though. It's
Yeah,
game time.
yeah,
I know this is
Gucci.
I know this is like the latest we've ever done. No, I told him already.
2 minutes. About 2 minutes.
Danielle, who's going to be pissed at us in about 10 minutes for taking up studio time? Does News have...
No, nobody films after us.
Oh.
It's just how we rent it. So
Nice, okay.
If anyone's gonna be upset, it's gonna be forever.
All right, I can deal with
Okay.
that.
I can deal with that. I'll be all right. Juju on that. Hey, thank you, boss.
Thanks, man.
Take it easy. Hey, thank you, boss.
Thanks, man.
Take it easy. That's live. How did you do that?
How? It's crazy. Oh, man. Hold on, I want to see our reaction.
after this. I believe in you all.
That is funny.
Wow.
That's like 20 seconds delayed.
Yeah.
That's funny.
What are you guys talking about?
That's nuts, man.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry
That's
about
nuts, Danny. That's next level.
it. We're good.
All right, let's get it.
Okay. Every camera person, please have your.
They're good. They got headsets on. They ready?
Oh yeah, I wasn't gonna tell you guys that we were doing that, but we are.
Sweet.
Let's do it.
So okay, every camera person needs to have their headphones on right now. We're about to start. You guys are gonna rock it. We love you. Okay.
Good news for Tennessee fans after this weekend. No injuries on the Vols football team
Yes.
for the first time in about 8 weeks. Hello, everybody. I'm Lucas Panzica. With me, as usual, Malcolm Harris. We're Sports Mecca. Tennessee didn't do much this weekend, but, man, college football did not rest.
Man,
It never does.
It
What
never,
a weekend.
It never sleeps. It never rests.
Let's get
Ever.
into it, some highlights. So Texas A&M and Alabama, that was where College Game Day was this week. Most people thought this would decide the winner of the West, and that remains to be seen if it does, but I'm thinking it probably will.
I'm thinking it's a no contest at this point. Alabama is just head and shoulders better than the competition. That's a great throw by Trevor Knight to Josh Reynolds. But look at this strip right here. And on the rumble, the
Jonathan
fumble.
Allen, the big man, had a great game on Saturday.
Did you see him fall behind you?
The sniper on the O-lineman right there.
The sniper on the O-lineman.
But the non-offensive touchdowns has been the story for Alabama. 10 straight games with a
nuts.
non-offensive touchdown. Can anybody stop this team?
I honestly don't think so. When you look at Alabama and their remaining schedule, they play a very favorable schedule with going to LSU as well as Auburn. And those are really the only two, if they can do it, that I see problems happening. But I do not see that really occurring, Lucas.
The offense still kind of struggling to find that
Mm-hmm.
true identity. Jalen Hurts is running the ball around. He's been electric, kind of inaccurate sometimes with throwing the ball. But I feel like you could plug anybody in under center of this Alabama offense, and that defense would just take care of them.
And that run game, too, with that two-headed monster with Damian Harris and Bo Scarborough, I mean, they don't get tired. They just are so physical, and they run north-south. So,
And bad news for Alabama on the injury front. Eddie Jackson, the punt returner and defensive back, out for the year. Huge blow for the Tide. They go into a much-needed bye week after that 4-week stretch where they did go undefeated. So now, you mentioned it, only a couple teams left on that schedule that could really challenge them at all. You mentioned LSU. We'll get to that a little bit later. But Auburn is making some noise, man.
They are making some noise, and I really like what Gus Malzahn is doing. You know, a couple of weeks ago, the Gus bus was getting kind of hot down there in Auburn, Alabama. But now I think that that hot seat has definitely cooled down a little bit.
A
So.
single-game SEC record, 453 yards against Arkansas. And this is a team that lost its best running back in the preseason, Javon Robertson. Kerryon Johnson did not play in this game. Cameron Petway has been an absolute
Oh, my
monster.
goodness.
Just guys are stepping up for Auburn, and they're making some noise in the West.
They are. So, the Iron Bowl has always been a game that has been crazy. And, with this last performance that Auburn had over Arkansas, with over 500 yards rushing, I don't know.
We'll see against that Alabama run defense that's been so excellent all season. But let's get into some more highlights. Ole Miss at LSU, the only other team there that might challenge Alabama for the rest of the year, LSU. And it was the Leonard Fournette show here in the first quarter, down 10. Scampers for a 60-yard touchdown. At one point in this game, Leonard Fournette had 249 yards on 7 carries. And this is the play that was on a repeat all weekend long.
Number 2 just died. He literally
runs
just
over Deontay Anderson.
I'm just.
And then right here, another 80-yard touchdown. It's like it's nothing for him. just he finds a hole and he accelerates through it. I feel like sometimes he needs that hole, but once he finds it, you just can't stop the guy. He finished the game with 16 carries for 284 yards and 2 touchdowns, averaging 17.8 yards per carry.
Welcome back, Mr. Fournette.
Welcome back. A lot of people say he's the best college football player in the nation. I mean, can you really disagree with that? When he's on, he is the best college football player in the country.
When he is on and he is 100% healthy, there is not a better college football player than Leonard Fournette out of LSU. Just speaking, if you look at the holistic picture of all, I mean, you have Lamar Jackson maybe, but Leonard Fournette is special. They don't make him like that anymore.
Now, Leonard Fournette was the story on Saturday, but really it's been Coach Ed Orgeron that's been the story in these last few games. In the last 3 games, LSU has broken 3 different offensive records, offensive single-game records. Of course, this last one was single-game rushing record by a running back in Leonard Fournette's huge game. But Coach O's making his case here. I mean, if he beats Alabama, which is a huge task, but even if he wins out, loses just that game, maybe loses another one down the road, he really is throwing his name in the hat there.
If he can beat Alabama, the job is his.
Absolutely, it has to be, right?
It's his. But
the players have rallied behind him.
Yeah.
The fans love him. He's not the best X's and O's coach, as a lot of people know.
That's what I was going to say.
But I mean, he's from the area. He's called it his dream job. I could definitely see Coach Ed Orgeron being LSU's head coach next fall.
And the thing with Coach Orgeron that I really love, he's an elite recruiter. He can get talent. You know, he has ties everywhere from the West Coast to down south. He's from Louisiana, like you said. So if he does win that game against Alabama, it's going to definitely bolster his stock for that job in LSU.
Well, let's look at the game of the weekend, probably the game with the most impact on the college football playoff. Ohio State Buckeyes, Urban Meyer's team, went up to Happy Valley.
Ooh.
Was a good game at first. Ohio State looked like they had the game in control. This is Curtis Samuel's first run of the game, a 74-yard touchdown in the third quarter. Only got 1 more carry for the rest of the game and had a loss of 3 here. Snap goes over Blake Gillikin's head here in the third. Luckily, he falls on it for a safety. Might have saved the game there for the Nittany Lions. They go down 21-7. Big play here then. Trace McSorley to Saeed Blacknall for 35 yards, and they punch it in. But it was that blocked field goal, return for a touchdown. And now Ohio State drops from 2nd place in the country to number 6. Here it is. The kick by Tyler Durbin was blocked by Marcus Allen, picked up by Greg Haley, and ran all the way back.
He snuck into the end zone on that when he almost lost his footing.
Certainly a play that's going to go down in college football history. I feel like we've seen more kick sixes in the last 3 seasons than we've ever seen.
Ever seen.
It's really become a focus, I guess, for these special team coordinators. So huge upset, Ohio State, but they only moved down to number 6 in the polls. And I know you were bothered by this, as were a lot of mostly SEC fans in the country.
I was very heated. Because you're looking at Ohio State. It's a good football program, as we all know. They were top 4. Actually number 2 going into the game, and you lose to an unranked opponent, and you fall 4 spots. And I know they lost in dramatic fashion, and it was a great fought game from both sides, but you need to be out of the top 10. This Tennessee football team, when they were 1-0, when they beat a great App State football team. You keep watching App State. They're really good. They're good. They're a good football team. They dropped 7 spots. They went from 9 all the way down to 16, 17. So if you are, Ohio State, you need to be counting your lucky stars, because I personally, if I'm on the committee, I do not believe that they are a top 10 football team.
Texas A&M loses to the number 1 team in the country. They're down to the number 9 spot. So they drop 3. Ohio State drops 4. What does this really do for the playoff picture? What does this do for the Michigan Wolverines that have to play Ohio State? Does Michigan want Ohio State undefeated in the end of the year, or are they glad that Ohio State slipped up somewhere?
I think they wanted them undefeated because they already have that taste of defeat already. So there's no incentive to walk in, to that Ohio State Michigan game. If I'm Michigan, I feel fine. Like I've already, we're undefeated, but if I'm Ohio State, I really feel fine, because it's like, we already had this 1 loss, and if we win, we're gonna jump. You see what I'm saying? So I just, it's gonna be the scene there versus Ohio State and Michigan. It's going to be nuts.
Of course, James Franklin's signature win since he took over at Happy Valley. So Penn State upsets number 2 Ohio State. Really makes things interesting for the college football playoff picture. We're going to look a little bit ahead to next week there in the 3rd segment. We're going to go to break for now, talk some pro football, some NBA opening day when we come back. Stick around.
The UT Student Health Center offers a variety of services for students, faculty, and staff of the university. Our full-service pharmacy is staffed with licensed pharmacists who are dedicated to the health and well-being of the UT community. Located on campus across from The Rock, The UT Student Health Center Pharmacy provides the same services offered at large retail chains at your convenience. We accept most insurance plans, so you'll be able to purchase the medication you need for an affordable price. At the University of Tennessee, your health is essential. So come by our pharmacy and remember, a healthy vol is a happy vol.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sports Mecca. Now, Lucas, it's October. They say that legends are made in October, so let's get into some World Series talk. We got the Cubs and we got the Indians. Somebody's going to win for the first time in a very, very long time.
Very long time. Cubs have not been to the World Series since 1945, and of course it's very well documented that they haven't won the World Series since 1908. The Indians are not in that different of a position. They have not been to the World Series since haven't won the World Series since 1948. So game one is on Tuesday. Are you taking the Cubbies? Are the Cubs going to snap that century-long streak?
I think it's destiny at this point.
It has to be.
I think it's destiny for them to even be in the conversation. I think with Bryant, I think with Arrieta, I really think those boys are going to get it done. And I think the Cubs are going to bring a championship back to the city of Chicago for the first time in over 100 years.
Was an amazing scene in Chicago last week as Yasiel Puig grounded out into a double play and the Cubs win the pennant. Let's move on now. WNBA. Never get to talk much WNBA, but you got to mention this one. Candace Parker takes on Maya Moore.
Good job, Candace. All the personal and professional disappointments this year. What does this moment mean to you?
This is for Pat. This is for Pat.
What a moment there. Candace Parker, wow. MVP there, the WNBA championship. The Sparks beat the Lynx 77-76. Crazy game. Candace Parker, the MVP, completely dedicating the win to Pat Summitt. What a moment right there.
What a moment.
For college basketball everywhere.
What a moment for college basketball. What a moment for just women athletics as a whole. Candace Parker, you know, she's had every single thing on her resume from Olympics to, you know, the MVPs, but now she finally has her ring so she can totally cement the legacy. So,
all right, great moment there as Candace Parker dedicates her win to the late Pat Summitt, Tennessee great. Now let's talk some NBA. Opening day is tomorrow. We've waited a while for this. Really one of the craziest NBA off seasons that I've seen in a very long time. Some great games tomorrow. The Knicks play the Cavs. That's the one that I'm looking for. I love these New York Knicks.
Man, you and me both.
But what's your favorite? What are you really looking for tomorrow, Wednesday, and really the rest of the week?
Really, I want to see these Golden State Warriors. You know, with the addition of Kevin Durant, I want to see how they're going to spread the basketball to get all four of their superstars involved. Yes, I said all four, with Draymond being a superstar.
Absolutely, you have to count him in there.
He's a baller.
They play the Spurs tomorrow. That you really couldn't ask for a much better opening day matchup. You're telling me you've got the Warriors winning. You got them winning big?
I have the Warriors winning big, yes, because when I look at the Warriors, they're in midseason form already. I think that everybody, if you're a starter, you're going to get at least 15. And I honestly believe that they'll have 75 to 80 points in the first half.
A lot of people now are saying that over in New York, these Knicks can make a push for a conference title. Are you buying it or are you selling that?
Listen, if they don't make a push, they're going to be the most entertaining team in the National Basketball Association. I mean, from Carmelo to your boy Porzingis.
You love Chris
Porzingis. And Derrick Rose, if he does not get hurt, what is there? You know, we still don't know what Derrick Rose is. So it's going to be a crazy NBA season, to say the least. So.
Crazy day tomorrow. You got Cavs, Knicks, Spurs, Warriors. Can't wait to see what happens there. So let's talk some pro football. My Tennessee Titans pulled the Tennessee Titans. I was wrong. They're not going to go 13-3 and win the Super Bowl. It'll probably just be 12-4. But the Titans hosted the Colts on Sunday and played well, really. Marcus' running game has been great. Number 3 overall in the NFL right now in rushing, 28 in passing. A lot has to be fixed there. But here in the fourth quarter, Andrew Luck to Jack Doyle, a 7-yard touchdown, and the Colts take the lead. So this is Mariota's time to shine here on the 25. He can orchestrate a game-winning drive here, but the strip sack, Robert Mathis scoops it.
Scoop and
all
score.
The way back. Big man touchdown. We've seen a few of those this weekend.
We have.
So the Titans, really now this makes the AFC South probably the most interesting division in football right now, I think.
Yes, it is a very interesting division with you have the Titans as well as Colts, Jags, and Houston.
Right.
And, Houston, if they can get the W tonight on Monday Night Football, it's going to be very, very crazy to see how, this division will play out. But I'm really looking for Andrew Luck just to kind of put his stamp on it going forward. He played some really great football
He
yesterday.
has been playing great football. Had a great game, 353 yards and 3 touchdowns. Mariota, over 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. Also a good game, but he's kind of seemed a little less in control of this offense. And he turning the ball over a little bit. You see some of these fumbles. This Titans offensive line is much improved, but still these turnovers are the issues with the Titans. But they're a much better team from when they were last year.
Well, I want to talk about something yesterday. My Atlanta Falcons.
I was going to bring it up. I was scared to bring it up. I'm glad you brought it up.
It's okay because we had to talk about it. They dropped a heartbreaking loss to the Chargers 33-30 in overtime. Matt Ryan threw for over 250 yards and a touchdown and an interception on the day. Julio Jones, 9 receptions,
Great day.
180 yards. It's standard with Julio.
Absolutely.
But that defense can't play like that. You're up 30-20 in the fourth quarter, and you let Phillip Rivers drive down the field. And in overtime, would you have gone for it, or would you have punted the ball and let your defense, if you're Atlanta, if you're Dan Quinn, head coach, would you have punted, or would you have made the same call to go for it on 4th and 1?
I don't know. I'm always a fan of the coaches calling it in that situation on 4th and 1 and going for the win. But it's always that tough situation that if you make it, you're a genius, and if you don't, it's like Butch Jones at the end of that Texas A&M game.
Absolutely.
Everyone wanted him to go for 2.
Absolutely.
After that, but he ended up kicking an extra point, taking it to overtime. It's just that if you make it, you're a genius. If you don't, you're the GOAT. But I'm sorry for your loss, Malcolm.
It's okay.
I'm with you though. I'm a Titans fan. I feel your pain.
It's okay.
Let's move on a little bit. Vikings-Eagles, a great game last weekend. Vikings, one of the few undefeated teams remaining. This was a turnover fest, which we did not expect. Carson Wentz has been sensational. That pass was not so sensational there in the beginning of the game, right into Andrew Santejo's hands, down at the 2. Easy to punch this in for the Eagles, right? Wrong. Sam Bradford throws his first pick of the year on 3rd and goal to Rodney McLeod.
He was blanketed. This receiver was blanketed. There's all that black jerseys over there.
Right.
Come on.
Another turnover here. That transaction between Wentz and Darren Sproles goes wrong. Anthony Barr. This was just a hard game to watch.
It was.
Wentz did play well, though. Had 138 yards, 1 touchdown. Did have a couple of picks. But we finally saw some touchdowns here in the beginning of the second quarter. Josh Huff, 98 yards, untouched until Blair Walsh has one of the worst tackle attempts.
He just ran him.
I know you're a kicker, man, but you gotta do
make some
better.
Contact.
You gotta do better.
What was that flip? That was like a 10 to me. That flip in the end zone, that was nice.
So you got Wentz to DGB, 5 yards, his first touchdown of the season. Of course, he was acquired by the Eagles from the Titans in a trade in the offseason. So a good game here. The Eagles get the win. Carson Wentz was a little spotty in the beginning there, but he got his team the win.
He was amazing. Carson coming out, he was very shaky and rocky in the first half. But in the second half, 7 for 8, 85 yards, and the TD to DGB. So I really like that he can adjust to the game. He can make adjustments, and he can make the necessary throws when his number is called. So
5 turnovers in that first quarter from 2 of the quarterbacks in the league this season that have been great about not putting the ball in the hands of the other team. But the Vikings now, they fall to 5-1. So let's move on a little bit and talk about the other, what I think is the best team in football right now.
Wow.
The Patriots went up to Pittsburgh. Tom Brady put on a clinic, as he has been doing in the very few games he's played this season. And they go up and they beat the Big Ben-less Steelers 27-16. Are the Pats the National Football League's Alabama? Can anybody stop these guys?
Nobody can stop these guys. People thought I was crazy for taking Tom Brady so early in my fantasy football draft. I knew this would happen. Tom Brady, once he is behind center, it just doesn't stop. He's cerebral. He is just so ruthless behind the pocket with the throws, with his reads, and it's not going to stop. Barring injury, it won't stop.
222 yards, 2 touchdowns on the day for Brady. First player in NFL history with 782 pass yards, 6 touchdowns, and no interceptions
0
in the first 2 games of the season. It remains to be seen if Bill Belichick and his Patriots team can be beaten this year. So another huge game in the NFL last night, the Cards and the Seahawks. One of the worst games I've ever watched.
Worst, best games of my life.
Overtime, 6-6, Chandler Catanzaro, 24 yards, hits the upright. All the Seahawks need is a field goal. They get down 28 yards. Steve Hauschka. There's something about that building because their special teams was the issue that week. There were block punts. There were missed field goals that night. all over the place. I don't know what it is about that stadium over there in Phoenix, Arizona, but that was just ugly, man.
I wasted 4.5 hours of my life
That was
watching
rough.
a game that nobody won.
Oh, man. 6-6 tie in the National Football League. Tough to watch.
Do you like ties? Do we need to do away with ties?
Well, see, I'm a soccer guy, so if I say I hate ties, it's kind of hypocritical.
It's
But I don't like ties, man. I don't
in
like
football, I just feel like you
football.
cannot have
Should not be a tie.
you
in
cannot
football.
have a tie at all.
Absolutely. Let's move on to commercial break. When we come back, we got Kyler Sukram here, one of our interns here at Sports Mecca, to doing a little Heismanology, and we'll talk about the upcoming week in college football. Stick around.
The UT Student Health Center offers a variety of services for students, faculty, and staff of the university. Our full-service pharmacy is staffed with licensed pharmacists who are dedicated to the health and well-being of the UT community. Located on campus across from The Rock, the UT Student Health Center Pharmacy provides the same services offered at large retail chains at your convenience. We accept most insurance plans, so you will be able to purchase the medication you need for an affordable price. At the University of Tennessee, your health is essential. So come by our pharmacy and remember, a healthy ball is a happy ball.
The Heisman watch list this year has primarily been quarterback heavy, with running backs underperforming throughout the season. One guy whose name has been synonymous with Heisman all season is number 5 Louisville's Lamar Jackson. Jackson has been nothing short of electric, proving to be the best double threat QB in the country. So far, he has 2,000 pass yards and leads all, including running backs, in rushing touchdowns. He's accustomed to making big plays, with a 40-plus yard completion in 6 out of 7 games this season. No one has found a way to slow down this sophomore, and he has led Louisville into the top 5. Then we have Clemson quarterback Deshaun Watson. Coming into this season, Watson was a Heisman lock for many after placing runner-up last year. He has led Clemson to an undefeated start with 20 pass touchdowns already. As a junior, he's Clemson's on-field leader. Watson has not flinched under pressure, clocking 400 yards in an overtime win against NC State. If he wants to lock down the Heisman spot this year, he'll have to minimize interceptions for the rest of the season. J.T. Barrett has been wreaking havoc in the Big Ten, leading Ohio State to a 6-1 record. He has had 17 pass touchdowns with just 4 interceptions. Barrett also averages over 65 rushing yards per game. He's not been bothered by pressure, still performing strong in a heartbreaking loss to Penn State last weekend. His performance against Penn State is what kept his Heisman stock from dropping. He had 271 yards and a higher pass completion rate than his season average. With Ohio State's tough schedule, he still has plenty of games to prove he deserves the trophy. An unexpected player who has made himself impossible to overlook this season is Washington QB Jake Browning. As a sophomore, he is 3rd in pass TDs this season with 26 and just 2 interceptions. He also has the 2nd highest pass efficiency rating in the country. This has played a major role in Washington's success. They are an undefeated 7-0, and if it stays this way, they have a good chance of getting into the spot for the playoffs. This will be huge for Browning's stock and would also almost guarantee him an invitation to Manhattan. Finally, we have to mention running back out of San Diego State, senior Donnell Pumphrey. As one of the only running backs living up to the hype, he leads the position in yards and touchdowns. He is extremely fun to watch, and as you can see, he has a couple of 50-yard rushes on the season already. He is the anchor of the team's offense, and they do not use him sparingly. He leads the country in rush attempts. And just recently, he became the leading rusher in San Diego State history, overtaking NFL legend Marshall Faulk's record. He's the reason SDSU is 6-1, and I'd not be surprised if he had an invitation coming December. For Sports Mecca, I'm Kyler Sukram.
Great stuff there from our guy Kyler. Man, love that Heismanology talk.
That was nice. That was some good stuff in there, man.
If you've got to pick one of those guys that Kyler just mentioned to go to New York and hold up that trophy, who do you want to see? Not who do you think will. Who do you want to see?
Who do I want to see? I love what Kyler said about my man J.T. Barrett. I mean, he is a gunslinger, man. He's going to make a lot of money one day in the National Football League, and his accuracy is what sets J.T. apart. And what about you? Who are you thinking?
San Diego State, man. Reppin' Pumphrey has had such a good year, breaking Marshall Faulk's record. Marshall Faulk is one of the greatest running backs in the history of football. I'd love to see him get to New York. He's had an electric season. Like Kyler said, definitely probably the only running back that's truly lived up to the hype this fall. All right, so let's talk some Vols.
Okay.
Vols are going into South Carolina, And good news finally on the injury front. They're getting some guys back.
They're getting everybody essentially back but Jalen Reeves-Maybin. We got some news about Cam Sutton. In a couple of weeks, he will be back from that fractured ankle. Darren Kirkland Jr. is also supposed to be starting this week at South Carolina with his ankle injury as well. So getting some continuity back in the fold for the Vols is good to see.
Finally, every O-lineman that was banged up and missed out on the Alabama game, which was a lot. You got guys like Chance Hall, Dylan Weissman, Brett Kendrick, guys that you just can't afford to lose for this Tennessee offensive line. Butch Jones expects them all to be back for South Carolina this week, which is great news for the Vols rushing attack, especially since Alvin Kamara will be out against South Carolina, and he might be back in a couple weeks. Like you said, Cam Sutton also could be back in a couple of weeks. So literally just 2 weeks ago, we were looking at this decimated Tennessee team thinking, I mean, we don't know if they're even going to be still standing at the end of the season. Right. And then you fast forward a few weeks, and now really it's only Jalen Reeves-Maybin is the guy that they really don't have for the rest of the year, which is a better situation than many fans thought we'd be in a week ago.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it's going to be, hopefully we get, Cam back sooner rather than later to get him some reps if we, in fact do make it to Atlanta for the SEC championship. So.
To do that, of course, the Vols have to win out.
Absolutely.
Need Florida to lose. Will it be that easy for the Vols to win out and go for the rest of the season?
The biggest opponent for Tennessee coming up is actually Tennessee, and that was a trick question because the only person that can beat Tennessee is themselves. If
Absolutely.
they, don't play great offense, if they don't, have all the P's and Q's sounded off on defense, they will lose a ball game. I'm not sure who it's going to be to, whether it's Vanderbilt with that stout defense. That's a great defense.
It's a very good defense.
And at Vandy, it's a great defense. So the biggest opponent for Tennessee is Tennessee.
I absolutely agree. We've seen them beat themselves in the past. And you got a couple of trap games there. South Carolina, Tennessee is always a close game. Kentucky coming in, Missouri. Butch Jones mentioned it in his presser today. It's not very often you get to this stretch in the end of the season, and Tennessee now is that game that every team is circling on their calendar in the SEC East. So the Vols need to be wary. This is not going to be an easy stretch.
It's not going to be easy at all, but I think if Tennessee plays their best football, which we still haven't seen, that it won't even be a contest with these next 5 games.
A couple other good games in the college football world. So the largest outdoor cocktail party, big one for Tennessee fans. Butch Jones said today he's not going to be paying attention to it. I don't buy that. Tennessee needs Georgia to lose. Can Georgia pull this off?
Georgia cannot pull this off. They're not a good football team. I love Jacob Eason again. I think he's going to be a star in the Southeastern Conference for years to come. But, unless Nick Chubb just has a field day with Sonny Michel in the backfield for Georgia, I honestly do not see Georgia coming out on top with this victory in Jacksonville.
I agree with you. Georgia, really, like you said, not that good of a football team. I think Jacob Eason could be the #1 pick in 2 years, 3 years.
Easily.
But you're right. They are not the football team that feels like they've kind of almost digressed a little bit as the season went on. And Florida had a bye week this week. We don't really know how they're going to look. Luke Del Rio will probably be back under center in that game. So huge game for Tennessee. I think Florida will lose somewhere down the stretch. Don't think it's going to be this weekend. I agree with you there. Clemson, FSU, another big game in terms of the playoff picture. Clemson is still undefeated. If they go the distance, they'll probably go right into the playoff like they did last year. Going to Florida State. Florida State been kind of
in Tallahassee.
Up and down. It is in Tallahassee.
It's in Tallahassee, okay.
Florida State been an up and down team this year. You've got Florida State.
I've got Florida State. I think Dalvin Cook is really, really, really special. I mean, he's arguably the best player in the ACC, and I just feel like his combination of speed, agility, and shiftiness, it's going to be too much for Clemson to handle. And Deshaun Watson has not had a bad game yet, and I think he is due for one. And with his athleticism on this Florida State defense and a hot seat kind of with Jimbo, I like Florida State's chances here.
I like Clemson. I love Deshaun Watson. This is Clemson's biggest challenge, I think, for the rest of the season. They're not a cupcake schedule going forward, obviously, but I think this is their biggest game for the rest of the regular season, and I think they're going to come out and perform. Florida State has been kind of spotty at times. They had a huge win a couple weeks ago down in Miami, but I've got Clemson in this one. All right, let's go to the one that everybody wants to know about, Tennessee going to South Carolina. Do the Vols go in there and lose to the Gamecocks? To Will Muschamp for a 5th year? The Vols might finally beat Will Muschamp.
Finally. We have not beat.
Never.
No.
0-4.
Yeah, we haven't beat Will Muschamp. I think that they're going to walk into Bryce Stadium and do some damage. I really feel that, you know, in order to beat South Carolina, 3 words: stop Jake Bentley. You have to stop him. The kid, I was watching UMass versus, and I know it's UMass. You know, I know they were awful, 1-7. This guy made some throws, Lucas. He is very accurate. He is very mobile on the run, and he can put it where he needs to put it. He had 2 TDs, 0 interceptions, and he's a true freshman. But he skipped his entire senior year, so he should have been playing in Opelika High School in Alabama last Friday. But he's starting, and he's going to be starting again for the Gamecocks this Saturday. So
Tennessee, no stranger to running into these backup quarterbacks coming out of nowhere, performing well against them. I agree with you. I think Tennessee's going to go in there and win, but this game is just never a blowout. We still haven't seen the Vols put together 4 quarters of football.
Still haven't seen it, and there what, 5 more games left in the season? We still haven't seen a complete football game from Tennessee. Maybe, hopefully, this is it right here. So
we'll see if we see one this Saturday as the Vols go to Williams-Brice Stadium, play the Gamecocks following their bye week. Thanks so much for watching. Great show today. I'm Lucas Panzica. That's Malcolm Harris. Kyler Sukram with the Heismanology.
Kyler,
Great
shout
stuff.
out to you. Great stuff to you, bro.
We'll see you guys next week.